On February 27, 1882, 6 months after the death of President James A. Garfield, a eulogy was delivered in the House of Representatives by James Gillespie Blaine, the slain president's Secretary of State. Blaine, a noted orator who had previously served as Speaker of the House and U.S. Senator, provided a lengthy and memorable tribute to our 20th president. Blaine became known as the Plumed Knight when nominated in 1876 as the Republican candidate for president. The sobriquet came from the rousing nomination speech by Robert Greene Ingersoll of Illinois. Like an armed warrior, like a plumed knight, James G. Blaine marched down the halls of the American Congress and threw his shining lance full and fair against the brazen foreheads of the defamers of his country and the maligners of his honor. For the Republicans to desert this gallant leader now is as though an army should desert their general upon the field of battle. Gentlemen of the convention, in the name of the great republic, the only republic that ever existed upon this earth, in the name of all her defenders and of all her supporters, in the name of all her soldiers living, in the name of all her soldiers dead upon the field of battle, and in the name of those who perished in the skeleton clutch of famine at Andersonville and Libby, whose sufferings he so vividly remembers, Illinois nominates for the next president of this country that prince of parliamentarians, that leader of leaders, James G. Blaine. In his own speech, Blaine uses a straightforward rhetorical and oratorical style, often likened to that of Henry Clay. Through balanced phrases, great in life, with unfailing tenderness, he provides a stirring portrait of President Garfield that ennobles this victim of assassination. For the second time in this generation, the great departments of the government of the United States are assembled in the Hall of Representatives to do honor to the memory of a murdered president. Lincoln fell at the close of a mighty struggle in which the passions of men had been deeply stirred. The tragical termination of his great life added but another to the lengthened succession of horrors which had marked so many lintels with the blood of the firstborn. Garfield was slain in a day of peace when brother had been reconciled to brother, and when anger and hate had been banished from the land. Great in life, he was surpassingly great in death. For no cause, in the very frenzy of wantonness and wickedness, by the red hand of murder, he was thrust from the full tide of this world's interest, from its hopes, its aspirations, its victories, into the visible presence of death, and he did not quail. Not alone for one short moment in which, stunned and dazed, he could give up life, hardly aware of his relinquishment, but through days of deadly languor, through weeks of agony, that was not less agony because silently borne. With clear sight and calm courage, he looked into his open grave. What blight and ruin met his anguished eyes, whose lips may tell? What brilliant broken plans, what baffled high ambitions, what sundering of strong, warm manhood's friendship, what bitter rending of sweet household ties. Behind him, a proud, expectant nation, a great host of sustaining friends, a cherished and happy mother, wearing the full, rich honors of her early toil and tears, the wife of his youth, whose whole life lay in his. The little boys, not yet emerged from childhood's day of frolic, the fair young daughter, the sturdy sons just springing into closest companionship, claiming every day rewarding a father's love and care. And in his heart, the eager, rejoicing power to meet all demands, and his soul was not shaken. His countrymen were thrilled with instant, profound, and universal sympathy. Masterful in his mortal weakness, he became the center of a nation's love, enshrined in the prayers of a world. But all the love and all the sympathy could not share with him his suffering. He trod the wine press alone. With unfaltering front, he faced death. With unfailing tenderness, he took leave of life. Above the demoniac hiss of the assassin's bullet, he heard the voice of God. With simple resignation, he bowed to the divine decree. As the end drew near, his early craving for the sea returned. The stately mansion of power had been to him the wearisome hospital of pain, and he begged to be taken from his prison walls, from its oppressive, stifling air, from its homelessness and its hopelessness. Gently, silently, the love of a great people bore the pale sufferer to the longed-for healing of the sea, to live or to die as God should will, within sight of the heaving billows, within sight of its manifold voices. With a wan, fevered face tenderly lifted to the cooling breeze, he looked out wistfully upon the ocean's changing wonders, on its far sails, on its restless waves, rolling shoreward to break and die beneath the noonday sun, on the red clouds of evening arching low to the horizon, on the serene and shining pathway of the star. Let us think that his dying eyes read a mystic meaning which only the rapt and parting soul may know. Let us believe that in the silence of the receding world, he heard the great waves breaking on a further shore, and felt already upon his wasted brow the breath of the eternal morning.
I didn't do so well. that.
Yeah, that was tough.
James Blaine of Maine eulogizes President Garfield.
What year was
Pretty good
Garfield?
speech. Huh?
What year is Garfield?
That was 1882. How do you get that?
Right, great.
The,
That was 140.